We're starting our usual Saturday stream. Um, I'm glad I was finally able to put up the hooker video because I've been trying to get to that for a while. I think the only thing I might do a little bit differently is I might put in a part where I show that same guy came around 7 months ago, and I just like whatever because his comments weren't offensive, and then came back and wrote some more stuff that was even dumber. But other than that, I'm largely content with it. I think it was a decently put together explanation of my views. So I usually don't regret making stuff. Also, I've been thinking a lot about Star Wars for the last couple of I you could say days. I'll argue a few last few weeks. Um, I can't really tell you what the reason for that is. I guess maybe I could say I always think about just certain stuff from when I was a kid. And I remember, that 9, 10 year period where we were told episode three is the last one. There will be no more movies ever again. Um, and I also remember distinctively that I didn't become aware of like the fact that you had people who hated half the damn series until, I went on YouTube, which was even when I was on YouTube, I didn't really look up stuff related to Star Wars. Like I think I didn't start realizing there are people that don't like the last three films, or I guess one through three prequels, until probably ninth, 10th, 11th grade. Like I really didn't even bother with Star Wars related stuff on YouTube for a long time, other than maybe watching some clips, that people would post here and there. Um, but I remember that 9 year period where it was 6 movies, and they told us that was all we're ever going to get, and yet Clone Wars, and then you get the Force Awakens, and I remember being excited from seeing one of the trailers, and then seeing it in theaters, and just progressively disliking it. It was like I walked out liking it, and I just thought, eh. And then we got to Last Jedi, which that one it didn't even try to get me to be impressed. Um, but anyways, the point I'm making here is there was this thing where basically it was always a series that I moderately liked. I liked to some extent, some degree. And then it just really fell off hard with that new trilogy. Like it just the only thing that came out of that like was that 4 or 5 year period I actually thought was pretty decent was Rogue One. Um, but I don't know, it just it's really sad that stuff is that way. That you have a person who likes pretty much everything that came out as far as films were concerned, right? And then they see the new ones, they're like, ugh. And it's sad because this isn't the last time I'd feel that way about a series I was really into. Um, but anyways, I was just kind of thinking about some of the plot points, stuff I changed because I think I ranted about this before. I remember I complained that the sequel trilogy chose to use Snoke, this like mysterious villain that we've never heard of, and he's supposed to sound like really ancient and evil, right? And then you're thinking, okay, they're going to reveal who he is. They're going to like tell us something about him, and they never really get around to it. They just get rid of him after the Last Jedi, and then they retcon that he was a bunch of clones made by Palpatine. It's just I just thought the whole thing was really weird and just bizarre. And I was thinking, it would have been so much cooler. And this was something a lot of there was a theory that Snoke was Plagueis. That's Palpatine's master. I mentioned before, I thought the Plagueis novel from 2012 was amazing, which is why I was so pissed off that 2 years later it got decanonized. Like that was the first clue that Disney was going to piss me off. You had somebody write this amazing novel that reveals the origins of not only the overarching antagonist of the series, but also reveals like his master's past. Um, and just they completely just destroyed it, for the sake of their new continuity. So I thought it'd be really cool if instead of having Snoke, or oh, maybe this person is him, just have Plagueis, just have him return, and he doesn't even believe in the Sith Order anymore. I thought that would be really cool, because I think it would bring the series full circle if they used him instead of some random person that they don't even want to reveal the backstory of. I just thought bringing Palpatine back was so dumb. It's like you took away, and a lot of people were saying, "Well, evil was always going to come back eventually." That's not the point. If you took out of all the different Sith lords you could have used, you specifically decided to resurrect the one that is most associated with that 20-something year period of darkness, with the chosen one being evil, and also what his death is supposed to symbolize the chosen one returning and bringing balance. So if you bring him back, or show that he can come back, it just feels really hollow to me. So that was my issue with that. And I'm usually a person that's all right with people returning. Um, like I think I remember correctly. I know he comes back in the EU, but I remember that being a better written story that was more interesting. So, but I have a problem with both of them anyway. Either way, I'm just like, can you guys not? Yeah, it's just a really irritating series. That's been my best friend asked me if Clone Wars was made after Disney bought Star Wars. Like, Clone Wars came out 2 years after Revenge of the Sith. It's funny. The more I see stuff, I'm realizing that people have like really bad placements of time, because there's a really large gap between when Clone Wars comes out, you get the movie, and then the TV show, and when Disney buys Star Wars. Like, Clone Wars was on TV for what, 5, 6 seasons, before Disney came around snipping for money. That's why I thought that was funny. It's like, how do you get something mixed up that's separated by like 7 or 6 years? Just I don't understand that. That's why that was hilarious. I always wish we got something Clone Wars esque, like a animated series set between 4 and 5. I thought that would have been really cool. I was gonna say set between 5 and 6, because you could see how Luke became a fully realized Jedi. But the problem with doing that is a lot of people would get mad that you couldn't use Han. So I was just like, all right, whatever. He'd have to not be in the show except for flashbacks. He really thought Disney might have made Clone Wars. It really does seem like a lot of people who like stuff barely remember anything about it, or they haven't seen it in some extremely long time, so they don't even. I mean, I haven't seen The Last Airbender in some years, but I still remember the basic plot of the story. So I said people get on my nerves with just. I don't know. I always felt like if something's really good, why only see it one time? Like, if I say I never want to watch the sequel trilogy again, it's because I don't like them. But if it's something I actually like, I'll see it more than once. It would actually be harder to name things I've only seen once than that I like, than things that that I do like, that I've seen repeatedly. Just think that's really funny. I like this series so much. Oh, but that's why I'm only gonna watch it one time. Yeah, people are really against doing repeat viewings. I found it's become a lot easier to do that with stuff on demand. You can just turn on whatever you want. Like I think I've seen Infinity War like 6 or 7 times. I know I've seen Dark Knight multiple times too, like 8 or 9. Now, there was a point where I was watching that movie like every 2 days. Like it was crazy because that was one of the first movies I actively went on my way to get on DVD. You know. Hmm. Koski Merchant said hello to me. The reason he was late to the stream by a few minutes, he's over there trying to finish up his latest viewing of Morbius. Ever since that movie came out on digital, you just can't put it down, can you? That's your favorite film, and I understand it, but you gotta watch something different every now and again. I understand you really like that movie. It's becoming a cult classic. It made over $300 billion at the box office, but you got to check out something else every now and again. You have to be willing to expand your horizon. That reminds me when I was talking to that one guy that did the one that like set the lying world record last year. He told me that there was this one guy he knew that would dance, and he said that women can like being with a woman can expand your horizons. And I was just thinking to myself, if that's the most nebulous garbage I've ever heard. Like what horizons are being expanded? What does being with them equate to that could be considered positive? Other than intercourse or some other sexual crap that you can pay for by a hooker. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've read the same horror story. A guy gets with some woman after he appears to be wealthy to her, and then she sucks him dry, drains his resources, um and he puts up with this just to sustain a relationship with her. Or you have some chick that will come and be interested in the man after he's to like get attention off of him. Because I even had like one chick try to do that with me. I mentioned before that was like asking me for a shout out. I said, hell no. My standards are pretty universal. If someone didn't give me, a prop up or some kind of push, I'm not going to give them one either. Because I just don't understand the point of me giving people things I never received. Ah, good old Johnny come latelys. Yeah, people online are just a really interesting group of individuals. Some of the stuff you hear from them can be kind of funny. I still maintain the worst comment on that video was probably the one that said, "I'm not even gonna watch this video," and then was like ranting about the title. It's like I just can't believe someone wrote that and then actually posted was like, "Yeah, this is brilliant. I'm gonna comment on the video saying I'm not gonna watch it." and then expect you to read what I have to say. Yeah. The irony is apparently lost on people, but I just think that's very insane. I think the premise of going on a video that you have no intention of actually hearing or listening to and then expecting to be heard yourself is insane. Mm. That's why I said I don't respond to a lot of comments because people just write weird stuff. Like, how do you even respond to that? That's why I said these. He came on here hoping to have a productive, constructive dialogue, and you get crap. You get a bunch of people acting like they have all the answers and they're so brilliant, and it's just not true. That's a stupid comment to make because you'd have to have watched the video to say you won't watch the video. It's circular logic. Well, you can click a video and pause it, but again, it's like, why are you here if you don't want to actually like? I've seen plenty of videos I don't think are interesting because of the title, because of the thumbnail, and I have never once gone to the comment section and said, "I'm not even going to watch this video," but I will rant about the title. I think that's weird. Because remember, that video is not just something I whipped up in, iMovie. That video was a stream I did that wasn't that long. And on that stream, you had several people besides myself speaking in the live chat. So he is basically saying, I will not listen to the person that streamed or the people that were on that stream, but I expect you to listen about my tragic past in choosing to become romantically involved with a prostitute and then being surprised that I got the results I did with dating a hooker. That's where my issue lies with just how insane it is. Yeah, that is pretty weird. That's like saying you won't eat at a restaurant, but you'll stand outside and complain about the food. Now imagine going into the restaurant, you sit down on one of the chairs, and you look at the menu like, I'm not even going to order at this restaurant. I went to another restaurant and they gave me bad food. It's like, well, then why are you here? If you're not going to order anything, what's the point? Dude, I just love his tragic backstory. I had, and then it's talking about the hooker. Like, again, it's mostly the fact that he expects us to listen to him while he doesn't listen to us. I just think there's something so ironic about that and humorous. We need to listen to his tragic past while he ignores what we have to say. That sounds very fair. Ah, these people. I just gotta make sure this thing works. Yeah, it does. Wish I could find a way to mute that thing without. I can just press the space bar. Okay. Yeah, since I always get interrupted on Saturday, I have to remind myself to always have a finger on the mute button. Can never just do a stream without interruptions. Every Saturday. Anyways, I guess we should talk about this new wacky woman. So about a month ago, I met this chick. She runs this server, and we spoke about her before. She is she refuses to do so. She had a 3 hour DM call with me, and then I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good," and she agreed it was good, and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe we can do this again sometime." And then she said that she doesn't do DM calls or doesn't like them. Like, well, then why the hell would you do the 3 hour one? Um, but anyways, here's the issue I have. I don't like being in group calls, and I've never liked being in group calls. The only reason I even put up with being in them is because a lot of times I'm in a server, it's got a lot of people in there, and you're just if you want to speak to individuals, you have to sometimes speak to ones you don't like. And I've always hated the idea that you can sit in this call and have two, three people in there at once and just just speaking, and all of a sudden it's four, five, six, seven, eight. I don't like that. But we also talked about how her hypocrisy, right? How she wanted me to feel sympathetic to her because she doesn't like DM calls, which is you and one other person speaking. But then if I am uncomfortable by being in some call with five, six, seven, eight, nine people in it, she tells me to face my fears. And that's why I told you that I always have this issue with chicks because they have a fundamental inability to sympathize or empathize with someone or something unless they have experienced it themselves. And a lot of people are like that, but I've seen this particularly because remember, you're always told that chicks are more caring, all this like stereotypical stuff about women, right? And it just seems to be the reverse of it when it comes to these modern broads, especially the ones that you encounter online. Um, I mean, if you she admitted she never even considered I might be uncomfortable by speaking to a bunch of, and then when this is presented, there's no attempt at compromise. There's no attempt that, hey, maybe I can arrange it so that there's only four people on the call or three, if in my server, because remember these people have the ability when they're mods of a Discord server to lock VCs to where nobody else can come in after whoever comes in that they want to come to show up. So all I'm conveying here is that I feel very annoyed by the fact that this is someone who who expects you to be sympathetic toward her and understand her, but you as a man, or I as a man rather, am not given the same courtesy. um but basically about 2 days ago, I said I've been speaking to her for almost a month, and I have to get into these VCs with a bunch of people I'm not comfortable with, a bunch of people I don't want to talk to. So I decided to leave the server. And then her friends started sending me messages and claiming that she noticed and uh, sent me an invite to come back. And so I returned. I joined one VC and I left. I didn't leave the server, but I left the VC after like 10 minutes. So, but I'm because my reason for leaving was I was just kind of cutting my loss. So I was saying, all right, well, I tried to speak to this person and get to know them and all the rest of that, but I don't, they're pretty much incapable of reciprocating that same interest, right? Um, so I just all right, forget it. And then the friend is like, "Oh, she noticed, and how come you left? And we enjoy speaking to you." And sure enough, in the was it 2 days since I returned, she hasn't said anything to me about it. Hasn't sent me one message. So if she noticed, it certainly was. She's on some kind of passive aggressive stuff, which is cool by me because I don't intend on leaving any comments in there again. Like actually participating as someone that shows up to have these different group calls and send messages. I'm done with that. So I have I have returned in pretty much name only, but as far as like actually trying to engage with the people in that server, that's over. I was really just like, all right, well, I tried to speak to her, but she acts too nuts for my taste and was like, all right, bye, and just dipped out. I said before that a lot of people that run these servers think that you're supposed to just do whatever they want, and we've been over that before. It feels so weird clicking the space bar to mute. That's oh, I'm gonna have to remind myself that's a power I have. I don't know. I just feel so conflicted about the idea that you speak to someone for a month, right? And every time you talk to this person, unless it's in a private message, you have to tippy toe around what you want to say because there's two, three, four, five, six other people there. You're supposed to be sympathetic toward them and their desire to not have a DM call with you, even though they already did multiple times by the time they were saying that they supposedly don't like doing this. And then you're also supposed to be okay with the fact that they are not sympathetic toward your wants and particular thing that makes you feel uncomfortable, which is being in a call with a bunch of people. So, I just think it's unfair, and I don't. I said before that one of the problems with modern chicks is that they think men that they speak to are their slaves, and I don't have any shackles on me, so that's why I won't be reaching out to her again. I said before, Piscord's the only website where where like you're expected to, if you just want to talk to one person, to like speak to a bunch of individuals. God, like I really wish Skype would make a comeback because when I was on Skype, I would call somebody and that was it. If I when I was on, to be fair, most websites don't have a call setting, but like even when I was on Google Hangouts, you call somebody, it's just them. Like, why do you have to speak to five, six, three, four other people just to talk to one person? No, Discord's the only website where you have these individuals who have normalized, because listen, group calls are not a regular thing. When I call somebody in real life, very seldom does it turn into a conference call, almost never. So this website has normalized another weird thing, which is that you can't just speak to one person. You have to talk to a whole um, basketball team worth of people to talk to someone, which I'm not interested in doing. And one of the reasons I left the server was because and I've said this before, if there is some individual who I tried to make things work with and then it doesn't go out the way I want, I would rather cut them out entirely as far as making it to where I don't know what they're currently doing than like be made aware. Because on Piscord, they let you know the person is in a VC if you have the same server as them, right? Um, So I wanted to just, you see her online, you can infer that she's probably sitting up in her server for hours on end, because that's what people do now. They just sitting there for all day long. But you also wouldn't have a confirmation. You would just see her online, be like, all right, well, she can do whatever she wants. I don't care. And knowing that that person is in that server and like in a VC is more incentivizing to me to try to say something to them. And I don't want to be tempted. So that was why I did that. Because I always said before, I've said repeatedly, whenever there's like some individual I tried to make things work with, it goes left or it doesn't turn out the way I would prefer, which is very numerous if we're talking about chicks. I really do try to just make it to where there's nowhere that we have in common, nothing. I don't like being reminded of them. Discord is a weird place with many weird, very weird people. Akatsuki Merchant, you want to have a call with me? Well, if we do this call, you have to also talk to Butt Muncher 45, to Cock Blower 33, to Booty Scratcher 68. Like, you can't just speak to me, the two of us talking because I feel uncomfortable. Oh, what's that? You don't feel comfortable talking to three, four, five, six, seven people at once? Oh, well, face your fears. God, just complete hypocrites. I'm sorry I called you a Kotsky merchant. I should have called you Morbius merchant because you're promoting that new movie. But think about that. You are not allowed to just talk to me as one individual. You have to talk to my whole entourage. Like this is a damn board meeting. Nobody else thinks that's weird. So the only website I've ever been on where it's normalized to not be allowed to speak to somebody one-on-one. And you have so many people that are posting. I'm like, how do you guys like what do you guys do in real life? Does every time you talk to somebody, you have to call someone else and stick them in there too? Like, I just think it's weird. Why can't you if you want to speak to someone, why can't you just talk to that person? Why can't you just say, hey, you know what? I know you're online for like 5 hours today. Can we speak one-on-one for 30 minutes or an hour? And we can't do it this today, then maybe tomorrow, next week. I don't know why that's such a hard, difficult, insane thing that these people are like actively against. It doesn't make any sense to me. You want to have a call with me? I don't feel comfortable. Why? God, modern chicks are just. And it's only them that really do this. I've seen. Yeah, I haven't really seen any guys that are like this. We talked before about how they have all kind of like people always try to trash talk a man's personality if he gets rejected by chicks, but there are a lot of chicks with like eccentric, bizarre choices and quirks, you know, that get glossed over because people only harshly judge you if they think your love life is not up to where you would like it to be. That's when they try to do their character analysis. So if you have a romantic partner, you're automatically saved from being attacked in these different type of ways. Um, Speaking of romance, she actually said, I think I mentioned this before that like a man going to so we've been over this before that sometimes if you're getting rejected over and over and you're online, you meet a chick that lives in another country and that person agrees to go on a date. Um, and even if it's a chick that's in the same country as you, if they live in another state, particularly once on the other side of the country, you have to fly over there. You can't drive. So this broad actually tried to say that it was stupid for men to go and fly to another country just to go on a date with someone. And she was like, only men do that. So you know what it is, right? Because she has the female privilege of, having people throw themselves at her romantically all the time. She'll never understand what it's like to be a man who's desperate and just trying to take whoever accepts him and go along with whatever actually allows him to seemingly advance with a progressive love life instead of just sitting there and talking to people that reject him over and over because she ignorantly assumed that a man will have like chicks that live around him that are interested. It's like according to what? Like where are you getting this hypothesis from? I mean, I live in a state with 40 million people. Do I have to go up to however many millions of chicks are in the state and ask them all on a date before I can talk to one that isn't from the same state or country as me, who already says she wants to do this? Like, I don't understand. That's why I tell you that these people, when something hasn't affected them, they have no empathy. They are unable to understand your point of view. You might as well be speaking to a brick wall. It's dumb for men to go to another country to go on a date, but it's not dumb for you to try to tell me I can only speak to you when I'm in a group call with uh 3, 4, 5 other people. That's why I say I'm just tired of this stupid website. I think I've got this one person I was trying to talk to today and have a call with. I didn't know that he was going to message me before I started my stream, but I do genuinely believe that after because we might speak tomorrow. I don't know, depending on if he's still around. But after I speak to him, I might just log off the site for like a whole week because I'm really tired of this. It's just not fun. It's not enjoyable. It is a it's an exercise in futility. It's very frustrating. It's annoying, and I'm just sick of it. You know, the way people act on there, and just the things that they say. I really have lost my patience for, like, I'm in a VC with this guy about a week or two ago, and he says something about, because I'm talking to the chick, right? Something about take the um male genitalia out of your backside. And I just thinking to myself, you know, because I'm sitting here and trying to speak to this broad who acts like having a private call is worse than breast cancer, I have to be told obscenities by some guy that I otherwise would never even be hearing me acknowledge him whatsoever. And this goes back to my thing of how the stuff you have to do to just get the most basic reciprocation from chicks is insane, and it's not worth it. I'm going to say it very clearly. I could speak to this woman for 2 months, for 3, for 4, for 5, and I would still likely be getting the same result of being told that I'm only allowed to speak to her in a VC if it's with all these other people in it. And having, you know, people who I have no interest in talking to being rude to me in calls that I otherwise wouldn't be participating in if she were not there. So that's why I said she's just not worth it. And I haven't joined any calls since what was that, Thursday? It was, yeah, Thursday, where I just said to forget it. And I'm gonna see if I can keep that up, where I can just keep not feeling any type of compulsion to come and say something. Because I just don't enjoy, and I've said this before, doing all of this for the sake of trying to appeal to some woman. Okay, I didn't really see your comment until right now. Akatsuki Merchant says, "Wait, why did he say that?" So me and her have these, I guess you could call it play arguments. Um, and when these end up happening, we kind of just, you know, it's like you kind of like play insult each other, whatever. And the guy, in response to me responding to her, said that to me. Which, like I said, I'm not interested in talking to that person, and I'm not talking to that person. And I have to hear something as nasty as that because I want to speak to this broad. That's why I said she's not worth it. You know, that's the issue here. That the award of speaking to her is not worth the nastiness, the uncomfortableness, or I guess the uncomfortable status of being around these people you want to talk to. You know, just it's not something I really feel like putting up with anymore. Have seen you as well. I don't know what you mean by that, but hello. But yeah, I left the server and I had no intention of looking, because I very rarely rejoin servers. I think I've done that maybe twice or 3 times in being on Discord for like 6 or 7 years. I very rarely go back to a server I already left. Haven't seen you in a while, I mean. I don't remember seeing you at all. But yeah, anyways, going back to what I was saying, I'm probably gonna just try to not say anything, not participate, and then depending on what the aftermath is, I might do a video on it. I mean, if you haven't seen me on a while on YouTube, it's I'm sorry to say it's probably just you not even bothering to check my channel. I put stuff up every day. Megumi says, "Hey Justin in chat, I know I've mentioned it before, but thanks for your recent romance video you released. You highlighted so much points in it." Well, that's why I said I was taking my time with that script, because I was trying to make sure everything I had to say was set at the start and then respond to all the goofy comments afterward. So that's why it took as long as it did. No, we're just talking about this saga with this chick and her stupid server, and If you want to speak to somebody, you have to talk to like 3, 4, 5 other people. Yeah, use talk about a lot of stuff. I don't know why you're saying it in past tense. I still talk about a lot of things. Wow, what a gross thing to say to someone, just straight up sexual harassment. Remember, I told you that when these people get on these websites, um, they feel no accountability. And especially, see, here's the thing about VCs. A lot of people are more inclined to say vulgar or otherwise off-putting or offsetting things because there's no record of it. Unless someone is just recording every call that they joined, they can say this stuff and there will be no proof that it was said. So that's why they feel like free to just speak like that to me, because you know when you're in a a function that has no record of what's being said, you feel more empowered to be nasty and gross. The beginning was a nice touch as well. Yeah, I actually had 2 takes of that where I was trying to make a joke about the coffee creamer and having to drink something so sweet to get the sour of the internet away from me. But yeah, when I thought about that comment, I was like, I really sat here and had this guy say some weird, nasty, hypersexual comment to me in a call that I didn't want with him. That I'm only doing this because I want to speak to this broad. So that's why I said it's just time to go away. Like it was literally that was like 2 or 3 days before I just left. I mean, I ask you, who wants to be spoken to like that by people that they don't even want to talk to? Koski Merchant says, and you would have had a case for it if it were recorded because sexual harassment can also refer to when unwanted comments about someone's genitalia, and that's what he did. I mean, who's to say I didn't record it? I told you that's always the thing I warned about these chicks. If you're so afraid of me, please don't speak to me, because we like to have receipts of stuff, and we're not just talking about screenshots when we have receipts. You remember that 3 hour call that was that 4 hour call that broad did with me that you got to hear excerpts of? Telling you, I knew something was off with that broad. I knew it. I was like, she's gonna say some weird stuff, and because this is the romance plot tumor, it's gonna turn out the same way. So let's see if we can get this. Yeah, and we did. I wonder if the report option actually doesn't. Oh no, it doesn't, because usually there's no record of it, and the mob was there and she didn't care. But see, that's why I said I don't make those types of comments towards other men ever, especially ones that are voluntarily speaking to me. So that's why I said that, like, I'm really not interested in being in another VC in that server. I don't like the like weird, because I'm telling you, out of every man that I've chosen to speak to, whether it's in when I say that, I mean like ones that I've chosen to just talk to one on one, whether it's in real life or online. None of them ever talk to me like that. And I never talk to them like that. Oh, can you get the male genitalia out of your backside because you're upset? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? But again, you're supposed to put up with this stuff. Just talk to this broad. Doesn't seem worth it to me. The report option does nothing. Discord admins are you. Yes, she was there. She heard it. Hell, another example of Discord admins being useless. I was in a call with her in her server, and it was only just her and I. And she said, because I was mentioning some like personal stuff, that she would lock the VC if anybody came in there because of like the stuff I was discussing. Somebody came in there and says hello and all this other crap. I'm just sitting here waiting, just do 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 do, and the VC never gets locked. And then her explanation is, well, why would I have one person join and then lock into and move into another? It's like, you said you would do that, you liar. Told you you can't depend on these mods for anything other than maybe material to make fun of on your stream. I don't talk on females hardly, but it's always something crazy going on or something not right. So no offense, but who are you? I feel like I've seen that name before. Your name just seems very familiar. Like I've seen it in some capacity that was not YouTube prior to now. No, if you report these people, it's a joke because the mods don't do anything about it. They like having those weird hypersexual comments towards each other. This site just keeps becoming more and more ridiculous the more it gets mentioned on this channel. Never a positive aspect to say about it. Holy cow. The only time Discord's positive is when you're speaking to someone you like one on one, because when I'm talking to someone on there, I can send them like a picture or something I found, and like not after it. The load time is a lot faster than if it's on a regular phone, for example. Um, but other than that, it's a pretty awful site, which is why you have a lot of videos being made about it on YouTube by other people. Then why did you say you'd lock the VC if you're going to backtrack? Because she's a liar. That was to lure me into a false sense of security and make me think, okay, well, I can say something without having random people overhear it because it's none of these people's business, right? And then after she's given the option to finally enact what she said she would do, doesn't do it. Sounds like a pretty familiar trait among chicks in the modern era, huh? Where they say one thing and then don't do it. Hey, I'll call you tomorrow, and then it's tomorrow. Oh, my dog ate my homework. I'll call you in 2 days, and that's 2 days. Oh, I've been using the bathroom all day. You know, they always have a way of getting out of the commitments, even the most basic commitments. Like I've been in a mod before. To lock a VC, you just have to click like 2 buttons. She couldn't even do that. What a coward. Yeah. Tell you, these mods, man, don't ever trust them to do anything. No, I just always think about that nasty, because I've had people write like say nasty things to me online before, but it's mostly in writing on like WikiPiss and on here. So to actually have someone like in a call with me that I chose to be in say that, it's like I don't even want to talk to you. Like I'm not interested in you. There was another guy that said something. It wasn't sexual, but it was like he called me the A word and was like, "Man, you gonna insult me over playing a video game, and I'm on your team." So and since then, I never played with them. I'm in a few servers with them. I have been muted in each one. I wash my hands because listen, the thing about Discord is that every person you choose to listen to or speak to on there, you have the option to listen to or speak to on there. So if I feel like one of those people has done something that crosses a certain line, I'm not going to put up with it. Yeah, what she did was very cowardly. I just think this whole saga is weird. Like, imagine having a 3 hour like private call with someone and be like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable being in private calls." Well, how the hell did you do the other one? Was that your doppelganger who's more courageous? Imagine if I made a movie, like I filmed, directed it, I starred in it, whatever, and then at the end of the movie, then like a year later, I don't feel comfortable making movies. Well, how the hell did you make the other one with Pixie Dust? Like, just imagine doing something that's hours on end and being like, this is too much. We both going through the same thing, but I feel like I've seen your name before. It looks so familiar. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I've seen it in real life at some point, at some kind of academic institution. I don't know. It just looks that way to me. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It just appears that I've seen that same um, moniker at some other point in the past. The double standards are uncanny yet again. Oh yeah, they love doing that. Hey, the woman is uncomfortable being in a private call, and then the man is uncomfortable being in calls with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, but he needs to face his fears and get over it. I think that's hilarious that the just complete blatant double standards. And again, I question what is the because her ultimate goal is to friend zone me. Like that was stated by her. So I think I made it pretty clear what my stance on friend zoning is. It doesn't really work out too well for the chicks that try to implement it, if you know what I mean. These people are insane. How are they able to stay admins of these servers and allowed to treat others so badly? Well, they think it's all a joke. They think if you're in their little, because they actually have servers where they say there are no rules. And I'm not saying they should ban that person, but they can't even say, "Hey, don't do that." You know, talk to someone that way. No, nothing. These servers are run by absolute jokes, which is why I said that I'm not really interested. Like that's why I left. I got tired of the abuse. No, when websites have mods that either act like pricks or are useless, I don't really feel a need to keep doing stuff on them. So I generally just try to stay away from the way these people act. These people are insane. Yeah, they belong in Arkham Asylum. Nah, the name Emmanuel. I just feel like I know someone with that name. Can't put my finger on it. I wonder who if it could be someone else who had that name. Akatsuki Merchant says, "Yeah, I just recently left a server I was a leader in because my authority was constantly undermined by users and other mods." Oh, they love doing that. There we go with our annual interruption every stream, every single time, without fail. It's the same thing. Yeah, it just and it's the same person. It's always and what really gets me is that throughout the week they will call me on my phone. Just if you're in the same house with them, and that's annoying too. But it's like I would prefer that over opening the door to announce you're leaving. Like just go, man. Every stream, like what is that? Yeah, they don't care if you're talking to somebody else. They don't care if you're doing something else. Just tell you that empathy, man, it's not even a thing. And it never dawns on them. It's like, hey, what are you doing on Saturday where I always interrupt you, where you're speaking of something? Never occurs. Tell you, it's really frustrating. At least the other one isn't here though, so that's one decent thing about the last few days. I was actually considering streaming on Thursday, but I was just tired of that of that irritating server. Everybody hates the truth. You think I'm playing out of any man I've spoken to or been friendly with? to where I've had some kind of, it could have been several weeks, it could have been several months, some kind of like continuous correspondence with, right? We never speak to each other like that. We never say, uh, your genitalia is probably, like, doesn't get mentioned at all. Because I don't talk that way to people I'm trying to be friendly toward. I don't. I don't have weird sexual, especially towards other men. That's what's like, what the hell? There was some beef between two users, and I was trying to de-escalate the situation. One of the users being argumentative, and he straight up says, "I don't have to take orders from you. You're not my boss." So I'm like, "I'll ban you." Well, hell, nobody on Discord is your boss, but if they're running the server, yeah, and they're telling you you're breaking the rule. If you want to stay there, you have to listen to them. I'm just picturing like that guy was like a little kid, and he's like, "You're not my dad," and like, "I'll ban you." No, that website. I think it's ironic that I was at my happiest when I was just in those servers. Like you're supposed to join that site to be in servers and speak to people, and I was happiest on there when I spoke to very few people, and every time I had a call, it was one on one. That was where like it was at its prime. Because I said before that like I always remembered first joining that site and having um these like chicks try to play pussy where they try to pretend that like you're harassing them if you ask them basic questions like, "Oh my god, he asked me what my interests are. I felt so uncomfortable." Or if you tell some woman that, hey, you want to speak to her, you know, in a call, that's they try to say that that's you trying to get a date with her or whatever. Because every time you speak to a woman, it has to have a sexual turn. By the way, I should mention that because they think every man that talks to them is wants them and has this like grand plot on how to make them their girlfriends. Because even with the one that was running the server, she was trying to say, "I don't believe," her little stupid voice, "I don't believe you're trying to do that." It's like, but you're basically saying that if you're saying that you'd prefer to not be in DM calls because that's apparently where that starts. So it's like you don't have to directly say it's me for me to get the same result from doing it. Oh my god, that was one of the first instances I heard that just made me feel so disgusted about this site. Dude, I was on that site for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks or even less when that happened. That was right after I joined. Told you I joined one server where in the rules it said, do not make it was like, don't make romantic passes, sexual passes at the few female users here. My first hour in that server, so this woman comes into the VC and says, "Does anyone want to hear me moan?" Imagine being in the server where they say, "Do not make any sexual passes at the women in here." And then day one, my first hour, one of them comes in there saying that. I told you that's like if there was a rule that says, um, I'm trying to think of some kind of analogy. Don't ask celebrities for autographs. And I'm a celebrity, and I go, "Hey, so you want me to sign that baseball card you have?" It's like, well, they put this rule up that they're not to ask for autographs. Then you're giving out autographs anyway. They put this rule up: don't make any romantic passes towards the chicks in here, and then she's gonna tell you to ask if you want to hear her make some whatever. You see how just ridiculous this is? It's a damn parody of this. Well, that's what I was trying to explain about the romance stuff. That it's like you get rejected the first time, it's this really traumatic thing, it sucks, etc. You reject the second time, it's annoying. Why does it keep happening? The third time, it's annoying. Why does it keep happening? But when it turns into 5, 10, 15, it becomes a parody of itself. Like my problem with these people that try to do that eternal optimist, eventually women will like you thing is that they want you to believe in something that if it were real, it would have shown itself by now. I've never heard of someone getting rejected by chicks for 3 years straight, 4 years straight, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then magic woman comes along and she likes him so much and they get married and live happily. I've never seen it. I've heard of some men who have multiple dates and they get a wife, but I've never heard of someone getting rejected over and over again, and then they meet this magic woman who's so unlike all. No, I don't. That's why I said it sounds like a fantasy. It sounds like something you would see in like a Disney movie. But I tell you that, like, getting rejected that much and still believing in the hope of a woman liking you back is a parody of itself. Oh man, woman 98 will like me more than the last 97. And then when she rejects you, like all the other ones, I can't believe this would happen. Why? Like who is expected to be shocked by that? And again, they have the nerve to call you negative. If you look at a basic pattern and recognize the same thing over and over, it's like, no, the negative person are the chicks that are so damn against going on a date that you can ask out 20, 30, 40 of those pricks and get the same result from them. But remember, they're all different and they're not alike, and not all women are the same, even though you keep getting the same result. Yeah. Yeah, they want you to sit there and be shocked if you get rejected again after it's happened year after. You're like, oh, what? Woman 99 said no? Who could have foreseen this? No, that the romance stuff is a parody of itself. Like when you have guys that tell you to go to the gym and become a millionaire, you always have to remember most people are not rich. And if they are rich, it's usually older people who don't have muscles 9 times out of 10. So it's like when they're telling you all this advice stuff, and then you see some guy with some woman who's like, 200, 300 pounds, it's a parody of itself. Because it's like, why do you have to become some athletic person just to go on a date with someone who's never exercised a day in their life? Why do you have to be a millionaire to go on a date with someone that doesn't have a pot to piss in? So I said that just every aspect of this stuff, the longer it's gone on, has shown itself to be a satire of itself, a self-parody, if you will. I got one kiss at the end of my college semester. Was it worth it? Was it worth the wait? Yeah, it's funny how that works out. Is it just coincidence? They want you to keep rebooting and be miserable forever, literally. Yeah. Tell you with a hooker, you get what you get. You give her 100, 200 to bang, go on a date. She'll do it. You don't have to sit there and go, well, let me speak to this hooker for like 5 months and then maybe she'll decide to take up none of that time wasting crap. That's when you get these guys reacting negatively to the process. Yeah, they're so upset. The rage consume. They let the hate flow through them. They get so angry. No, that the romance stuff is a parody of itself. It's like a joke version has made it turn into what it is. You want to go on a date? Sure, just talk to several hundred women year after year, and then eventually one will say yes. I tell you the sad part is that because of how rare chicks have made just like getting one of them to reciprocate interest, you really can't. And it's so funny because they always talk about like, oh, you're negative, but the chicks are so negative that they take the prospect of going on a date with someone and stretch it out to be this world-ending doomsday scenario. But then also it's like, unfortunately, if you keep getting the same result from chicks, it makes anyone that doesn't do that seem all the more like they have some ulterior motive. Because I talked about the gold digger. It's like the second she agreed to this stuff and was like asking me all these questions, I was in my back of the head, what does she want? And then you find out after you agree to date her that she's begging you for money every day for 2 weeks until you tell her to go kick rocks. That's one of the unfortunate things that people don't talk about, that your ability to believe in this illusion that you're going to meet this woman who likes you for who you are is killed by how many of them never reciprocated. Oh, I'm not even going to watch the video, but I'm going to say that I feel about the title like what what the hell is that? He's doing a new YouTube series, title reviews. He just scrolls across videos and is recommended. It's like, I don't like this title. I don't like that title. I don't like that title. Jesus Christ. So some of these guys write the most worthless stuff. I'm not going to eat this dish, but I'm going to talk about the plate it's on. I'm not even going to read this comment, but I'm going to talk about its punctuation and grammatical errors and verbal terrors. I saw that comment when it first was put on there too. I was just like, I'm going to respond to this in some video. Some video is going to have me making fun of that. And I knew it was coming eventually. Oh, these channels, man, they're just a sad display of behavior by people. Let's see if the Piscord crew is in full effect. Oh, they are. Yeah, right now she's in a VC with 5 people. And you better believe I'm not joining that. You ain't going to listen to what the video entails, but I want you all to listen to what I have to say. Doesn't work like that, chump. I always thought it was like a common courtesy when you want to disagree with someone to at least hear out what they have to say. But I guess not. You can just respond to titles and feel intelligent. Like, wow. Oh man, people on here. I just think it's really interesting that like when I first got on Piscord, they had all these chicks that were doing the like Me Too-esque stuff of saying that any slight thing that you do directed toward them makes them feel uncomfortable. So when I think of harassment, like actual sexual harassment, I think of making like something overt, like, hey, can I get a picture of you? Hey, can I, touch your, just etc. But to ask someone what their interests are, to DM someone and ask them how their day's doing, to say you want to have a call with someone, I'll never understand where you could take these things and position them as being not only of a romantic nature, but also of a harassing nature. I don't understand. That's why I said I have a problem with modern chicks, because so many of them, like the ones that are, the one that was in that server that was talking about, like, can you hear me moan, are very explicit when it comes to like them showing some kind of romantic stuff, like making romantic comments or sexual comments at their own expense, but then at the same time people are trying to tell you about the innocent darling chicks that feel so so overwhelmed by the nasty things that man was DMing them, and you're like, what are these gross things? Let's hear it. Did he ask what did he do to you? He asked me what my interests are. It's like, what? What did he do to you? He said he wanted to have a call with me. So anyone that calls you wants to be your boyfriend? Like, Jesus, man. But you get the irony that they're trying to like pretend chicks are these darling angels that need to be protected from the villainous man, and then at the same time they're saying all this sexual stuff in these other servers. Like they can't pick which narrative to go with. You know? Jesus Christ. He asked me what my favorite color was. He's trying to get in my pants. Dude, I've had so many people ask me, what do you like to do? It was like, this person wants me to marry them. Like, how insane that you have to be. But I told you that goes back to the egotism of chicks, because I could have a woman DM me or message me, and some do, and I don't think they're trying to get with me, especially since you've had instances where it goes month after month and nothing romantic even appears, right? So why can't you be given the same courtesy? Because if you remember, the first issue with Triple L was her like out of nowhere sending me some paragraph about this, just a heads up, I'm not interested being in a like, what the hell? I don't even know you. Nobody said anything romantic anyway. But again, the ego, every man they talk to wants them. Every single guy. No matter what you say, no matter what you don't say, if you speak to them and you have the misfortune of being the opposite gender from them, they think you have this grand plot to become romantically involved with them, because you know that's just how big their ego is. How they even get these ridiculous ideas in their minds? They're the ones that have a problem. Well, they have a problem, and they also have people that coddle them, that think the same way, and also try to like make everything revolve around this idea that if you're a man, you're trying to like do any kind of scheme to get with one of them. And it's like, Jesus Christ. That's why I said I don't like talking to them, because if you have to be under this much scrutiny, accused of all of this stuff, be told that you are making this person uncomfortable because you asked them a question that you've been asked repeatedly. What good are they? Think about it. Like why speak to a bunch of chicks who, if they're not playing the sexual harassment game, they're trying to like waste your time with these never-ending back and forths, when you can just pay a hooker to go on a date or screw you. Oh, if you're with the hooker, you can't have children and family. A lot of these chicks don't even want that anyway. And if they keep rejecting you, you're not going to get that stuff regardless. So I don't understand what they really have over hookers at this point. No, they get coddled like crazy. Poor woman being harassed by man that ask her what her interests are. I've been in these situations before. I really don't like it. Never been given the same courtesy, and constantly accused of getting with them on basically just having a regular dialogue with, not some sexual one, not some romantic one, and they think you want them. They feel like any man who talks to them wants intercourse from them, so they'll cling to anything that confirms their bias. Well, I think I've mentioned before, I've had several of them where I'm like, hey, if you think I want you, we can just stop this altogether. We don't have to speak anymore. You know, if you're so worried about this evil man plotting how he will get. I mean, Jesus Christ. And this goes back to my thing of how what purpose do they serve if not only do they 9 times out of 10 reject you, but they also accuse you of things that there's no basis for? Who likes being accused of stuff they didn't do? I'd like to know who finds that appealing. Imagine if I went and started talking to this chick I brought up earlier in the stream, like, hey, I know you want to be with me romantically, and that's why you did that hour long call with me, and then two more that together were over an hour long because you have this fascination with me, and you want to like, I would be laughed at because it's considered a joke for a man to try and accuse some woman of trying to come on to him or any of this other stuff, especially on the internet. So it's just when it's the reverse, it's given a lot more credence. Then again, vast overwhelming majority of them aren't even capable of holding a dialogue anyways. Dude, I saw some video where somebody was like, why men have no personality. I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to accuse men of that, what are you going to say about these chicks? Do you like, who among them is interesting? Who among them is saying something funny? Something you've never heard before? The only reason chicks have any friends that are like male is because people think they're hot. Seriously, if they didn't look a certain way and you have a bunch of guys that are like horny and want to get with somebody, you would not see anyone trying to talk to them. Why do you think a lot of guys that are married have friends that they'll like go places with for a day or two or however long? Because their wife is boring, like they're not interesting. I bet the person who said that is some generic. No, he's John McClane from Die Hard, and every week he's on some super top secret mission, and he can regale us with stories of his grand tales of conquest towards women. It's like, who the hell ever believed that? Seriously, like I swear to you, out of all the chicks I've ever spoken to, there is not a single one where I'm just like, man, she was funny. She was really interesting. I wish I was still speaking to her. They didn't make me laugh. They didn't make me think in some critical manner that I'd never considered before. They're just there. They're just a thing that is necessary to speak to if you want other things from them. And you can have people that you enjoy talking to because they're not confrontational, or they're just nice. Not like I said before, not everybody has to be some dynamic, amazing character you've never seen before, right? But the problem is when you have people online trying to accuse you as a man of being boring, and then it's like, well, what the hell are these chicks? Because they're certainly not interesting. The main interesting thing about them is their tragic backstory. Dude, they make it sound like these chicks are just on some kind of like every week there's this new adventure, and like I'm just so tired of that, man. I'm really sick of it. You're boring. And what are chick? I remember this one chick told me, "You must be really fun at parties, like on Reddit," just as like some insult toward me. I was like, "Oh, if you think you're interesting, I got a sad reality dose for you. The only time any man will ever like you is for the way you look. That's the only reason. There is nothing else." And they know it too. Like I remember I told you that the one broad that was trying to like argue with me about me not talking to chicks anymore, even though it was none of her damn business. She was saying that she believed every man that approached her just wanted to have intercourse. And I was like, well, I mean, how the hell are you going to call me negative? Like, think about this. If you believe every woman you talk to is going to end up wasting your time, you're negative, even though you've seen the pattern repeat itself. But if this woman believes every guy that's ever approached her just wants to have intercourse, she's not negative. How does that work? Because remember, when I say they wasted my time, I can give you examples of this. Like they say they're not interested in you, they say they just want to be friends, et cetera, et cetera. But with her, when she accuses these guys of just wanting to have intercourse, it's never something they explicitly state. Like, I just want to be with you so I can stick my banana. And so, like, it's something she comes up with in her head to justify why these men are attracted to her. You get the irony here. You'll call me negative for seeing a pattern, a confirmed pattern, and saying, "Hey, look, I don't think this is gonna work out." But then you're not negative if you accuse every man that tries to speak to you of or get to know you of wanting intercourse. Okay, whatever. I was thinking to myself, you don't have to worry about me asking you for intercourse. I don't even want to like talk to you, much less scream. You know what I mean? Like you're so damn irritating. I wouldn't even. I don't even want to imagine trying to get that out of you. That's not even worth it in any sense of the word. She is so lucky that after that call, she changed her tune and very seldom mentions that stuff because the way she was acting, I was so quick to hitting that unfriend button. I like how they blatantly use the aftermath of something and cite it as the reason or cause for your misfortune negative. Yeah, like the chick that was like, women that watch this video are going to be less inclined to talk. It's like they weren't interested in me to begin with. Like the number of chicks that approached me before I made romance content, 0. The number of chicks that approached me after I made romance content, a number that's pretty much about the same. So it's like, what did we really lose? Nothing. I tell you, it's so funny to think about. Like they act as if you just like got rejected one time. We're like, I'm gonna make a video about it. It's like, no, you there were literal years of just sitting there completely silent, waiting for that woman stuff to change. If I just don't mention it, if I just don't bring it up anywhere, you know, it'll be different, right? Nope. So after like 3-4 years, I said, okay, oh, this one rejected me. Okay, thank you very much. They made a video. Complete strangers you've never heard of telling me I have no character is the biggest joke ever. But again, it's like, what character do they have? Like, who finds them interesting? Told you, I got multiple recordings of different chicks I've spoken to laughing throughout the whole thing at different jokes I made. I don't laugh at anything they say because they're not funny. Like, or what's the other one? The other part of it is, again, if someone is so boring, why the hell do you have 2-3 hour calls with them? And then they even take it a step further to, in a way, like you have lost out on something you could have got. Yeah, like the broad, the broad that was saying, I would never date a man that has sex prostitutes. Like, you wouldn't have dated me anyway. Like, I didn't make a video about that stuff until I had a chance. I was making like romance content for like, what was that, 2-3 years at that point? You never made any cameos or guest appearances, nothing. So again, you didn't lose anything. This person, you can reasonably infer, just like the other 90-some chicks you asked out, would have never shown any interest in you. So there is nothing that has been lost. There is something that they're trying to pretend has been lost, but it actually hasn't, because they would never have been available. They present that illusion to you to trick you into wanting to put up with the romance more. If you keep approaching women until 2030, eventually one of them will like you. If you're so boring and have undesirable traits, why do majority of these chicks that friends on you decide to want to keep talking to you then? Or have long hour calls? Yeah, exactly. If you're so boring. No, I don't understand that woman stuff at all. It's a joke. You get out of my face with that. Yeah, I waited, but nothing changed. Yeah, it's a scam. I told you the thing I always thought was funny is that no one can ever explain if chicks are so different. Why couldn't you find at least one of them that was willing to like go on a date and then get married and all that? Like why was that so unattainable if they're so different from each other? No one can ever explain it. If they are so different from each other, why couldn't you find at least one? It probably should be at least three or four because there's like whatever. At least one that was willing to do all that stuff and like you back, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Certainly isn't someone who has undesirable traits if that's the case. But hey, let's not address that and accept it's more nuanced than this surface level trait. Yeah, they just like I'm looking at this other man and I've assessed him to be ugly, and that's why no woman likes him back. Because there are definitely no chicks that I personally consider unattractive that have boyfriends. That's never happened before. If I, as the great decider of who's pretty and who isn't, say you're not pretty, then no one will ever like you. I said before, I had a coworker at this one place. I thought she was hideous. Seriously, when I found out she had a kid, I had my mask on, my mouth would have dropped the floor because I couldn't believe it. Seriously, if you gave me the option of you can either be with her and do all this stuff or be alone forever, I pick be alone forever. I didn't find her attractive. I mean, like in any sense of the word. And regardless of what I felt about her, she still had some guy knock her up and have a kid with her. So, I mean, apparently somebody liked her. You know what I mean? Like, by the way, what I'm saying, people always try to say it's so rude for men to talk about the way women look. Like, well, I'm doing a lot differently than what is done to me. You don't know who this person is. She doesn't know I'm talking about her. I'm not going on her page to say she's ugly, so it's not the same. Don't even try that. I'm allowed to say I don't find somebody physically attractive. If all these guys are able to say I'm ugly for however many years, I'm allowed to say I don't think this particular unnamed woman is attractive. So it's cool. I don't want to be approached anyway because I am indifferent towards most people because I feel like most are terrible. Yeah. I guess we got to wait till our 30s or 40s to get married or have kids. Well, I said before, you have like another problem with that theory is that if you go off of the logic of these people, that when you're 30 or 40 you have more money or you have just some more of something that's considered good than presently, and then you have all these chicks start appearing, like for example, let's just be very positive and say I'm going to have 100,000 subs in 10 years, which I don't believe I will, but just pretend. If I had a woman ask me out, whether it was in real life or especially online, I would probably say no because I'm like, where the hell was this broad before I got all these subscribers? So that's the problem with that theory. If you believe that you're going to achieve something in the next 5 or 10 years, and then you start magically having all these chicks say things or show interest in you, it just feels completely hollow and like they're a bunch of gold diggers or at best people with ulterior motives. They're not conducive to actually liking you for who you are. So I'm not interested in the Johnny come lately era starting up. Yeah, dude, you know damn well if I had 100,000 subs and I had some broad trying to say hello to me, they're like, get out of here, go away. No, seriously, there's no way in hell. Like, if anything, if this stuff takes until that long, I'll be even less interested in them. Because I will say, where the hell were they? Hell, honestly, if you really expect me to wait until I'm 30 or 40 something to have kids, not only are you in for a rude awakening, but I probably would be more interested in getting a damn like surrogate, and if it took that long. I'm just like if I said before, if that happens, there's literally no point in even trying to have romantic stuff with chicks anymore anyway. Because like the goal of being a parent has already been met. So then there's no purpose to it. Especially if you believe that regular chicks are just going to keep, only liking you because of something they think you have or own. It's really funny. There's this one guy that reviews. I don't usually like to get free advertising. I don't care because he's not even in the same league with me. He's talks about a whole bunch of other things. There's this one YouTuber called I think it's Pia. I've been watching him for over. I used to watch him when I was younger. I don't watch him that much anymore because I'm not into that stuff at this point. But he does Transformers toy reviews, and I remember that his channel's like over 100,000 subs. He had a wife before he even made a channel. Before he had 1 subscriber. So there are people who met someone in real life, and then all the success came at some later point. But I just can't picture receiving anywhere near that amount of success and then actually wanting to be interested in talking to chicks, because you're going to keep questioning, why are they just now showing up? Where the hell were they? Were they on were they hibernating? Seriously, I could never picture myself. I could have 20,000 subscribers. I could have 40, 60, 80, 100, whatever. There's no way. I don't resent any chick that starts trying to talk to me. There's no way that doesn't happen, where I'm just like, I'm good. You had your chance and you all blew it. I already told you before, they're not worth the effort. Because there are a whole bunch of chicks that nobody ever heard of that have men trying to talk to them just because they like the way they look or they like their voice or some other thing. It's like, if they get something off of something as frivolous as that, why do you have to be this Superman and not only be a Superman, but also have to wait this extraneous like 15 years for a goddamn date? And again, people have been like, when they talk about, oh, you're an I word and all this other crap, it's like, you guys are not acknowledging the fact that you want me to spend an inordinate amount of time waiting for just one woman to reciprocate my interest in her. And you don't get where I would be pissed off and be sick of chicks and call them pricks and all the other terms that are so offensive. They want you to put up with this stuff forever. I just can't believe people still act like it's a mystery why men are tired of chicks. It's really humorous. You don't want to speak to a group of people that treat you like garbage and never reciprocate? Who would have thought? No, Envoy, I don't want to see you right now because you really upset me. You came on my video and you put up a video, and then I was like, all right, this is a decent video. He's showing off his little British accent. And then all the way at the end of the video, I'm thinking, okay, he's just talking about the chick stuff. He's just talking about what my video was about. You put in a commercial from Morbius and its digital release that happened a few days ago. So I'm tired of you promoting this movie. I'm tired of you trying to get everybody to watch it. I'm tired of you trying to get everyone to buy it on iTunes. Just let it go. So I don't want to see you right now. You need to we're going to banish you from the stream. We're not even going to block you. We're going to give you the option to just disappear, just jet off. I mean, you can laugh, but we'll see who the last joke is on. I didn't hear any announcement for Morbius 2 at CinemaCon. And we can even discuss how easy it is for chicks to receive money from the internet and take advantage of many love-starved guys. Dude, they're like, I'm sorry. I'll never understand why people give chicks they're not with money. Like, as bad as the gold diggers are, I still can understand to some extent where a very lonely, desperate, dare I say, sexually deprived man who thinks that if he just keeps buying this chick different stuff, she will like him and want to be with him and fall in love with. I can again I can understand that to some extent, but like chicks online that you've never met in person and giving them, I don't get it. I really don't. Dude, I'm so tired of chicks. I'm so sick of them. Like, that's why some days I don't even. When I'm on like piss court, for example, I'll just see some of them sitting up in a call together. I don't even say anything. When them send me a message, I don't even respond. I'm just tired of them. Because like, what the hell do you have to do to get one of them to reciprocate? Why do you have to speak to 200, 300 people for a date? And then if you say the hell with it, oh, you're too negative. That woman stuff is just a complete waste of everybody's time. The amount of energy you can spend on all of it can leave you very depleted. Well, yeah, because I mean, some of them they can drag this stuff out for months. I think one of these days I'm just gonna like just say like we call it there's a word for it. It's not exploding. It's something to the extent of like you just don't care anymore. I'm just gonna just send all of them a message, be like, hey, so can we go on a date now? And they'd be like, and then when they all say no, I'd be like, all right, and then unfriend them, and that's it. just cut it all off abruptly because it really isn't going anywhere. I think we could be great friends. I can't have enough of those. I heard some story about a who chick got a guy requesting pictures of her feet. She sent him a picture of some other chick's feet from Google, sent it to him, and got paid for it. Well, I told you about the one guy that made an account on Facebook with all these different pictures of some woman that he stole, and then he did a video where where guys were like on this account, right? That he doesn't even post on that often. He had a bunch of guys DMing him again off just these pictures. And during this 30-minute video, he had three of them call him just out of nowhere without him even like send them any message. They just call him like, "Oh, this woman looks so hot." But people don't want to believe me when I say that men are desperate and they're, you might that's it's like I don't understand this stuff. I tell you, the chick thing just seems like a never-ending guessing game of people scamming you and trying to like make 2 points that contradict each other. Because I really do want to do a video where we just kind of go over the fact that you have multiple chicks who say they don't like it when men approach them, just to show how you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It we call it like women don't like men approaching them or something like that. Women don't like men trying to start something with them. I remember when I was doing the video, I saw a Reddit post by some broad that was talking about how if you get rejected by a woman, don't think she's rude. Think maybe she's been asked out by multiple men just in that day alone. I'm like, okay, so then what the hell else are they supposed to do? If chicks don't approach men ever, and like chicks are also annoyed if men ask them out, I mean, it kind of seems like an oxymoron. Like, so are you just screwed? Yeah, but I'm saying I don't understand what are you supposed to do if you are asking out a group of people who don't want to be asked out, don't want men to make the first move, but then also won't ever make the first move themselves. Like I don't. It just seems like something that never stops. How dare you see a girl at a coffee shop and politely ask them out? How dare you? I'm telling you, I saw that Reddit post where that broad said, "Oh, I'm tired of being asked out by men." That's why I said I don't feel bad about not because they're annoyed by men speaking to them, and they're going through something I cannot empathize with because I don't know what it's like to be asked out every single day. Oh my god, I might have to say no to somebody. What a tough thing to do. Oh man, I'm so tired of them like just as a group. Yeah, it's a literal paradox. And again, people expect you to put up with this stuff forever. They think you're just going to be this slave to well we've been over this before that like in the modern feminist era where they want women to be equal to men, they also want to keep around certain stereotypical behaviors that are associated with both genders. Um so chicks don't like approaching men because they're afraid of being rejected, they feel uncomfortable, they're nervous, etc. They have all kind of character flaws that never get mentioned by these different people that analyze the hell out of me because they don't treat chicks like inhuman fictional characters. um but yeah, they'll sit around and they'll say, oh, we want to be equals. Oh, what's that? That would mean we also have to approach men that we find attractive. Ugh! So that's why they never do it. You're supposed to sit around and wait for women according to her logic, but she would never ask you out to begin with anyway. Exactly. So that's my point. Like, why even bother participating in a system where the people that you're trying to get in the good graces of don't like you initiating things with them, and they also would never initiate things with you anyway. I don't understand the point of that. Only when it benefits them, then they'll like it to be equal. Oh yeah, some still expect men to pay. They want guys to approach, just to name a few. Yeah, but it's like you're approaching a group of people who by default don't ask out any men, even the ones they find attractive. They will not ask out. And then they also are upset that you asked them out. So I don't really know what you're supposed to do here. Seems like a contradiction to me. Anyways, I'll be right back and put this thing in the microwave. Men that approach with good intentions is a very courageous man in my books, and I would not fault him. Well, I'm not faulting them either. I'm just saying that they're participating in a system that is filled with a bunch of people who benefit from them approaching, but also don't like it. So it's just a paradox. Like Megumi said, like what are you supposed to do to get a woman to like you back if you can't start things with them, and they are infamous for never starting things with men, even the ones they say they like. I think that'll make a good video. It should be something like women don't approach men ever, or women don't like when men approach them, or something. Just like because you have to break this illusion. We talk about external factors, right? If you have some chick that does not like that men are trying to initiate something romantic with her under any circumstance, how the hell are you supposed to get this person to like you back? If you know that they would also not try to initiate something with you under any circumstance, because a lot of chicks don't approach, what are you supposed to do? Again, it's another one of those external factors that when people are trying to dehumanize you and tell you that you're a piece of garbage, they conveniently always forget about. No, it means that they are thirsty based on their logic. Yeah. Remember, we talked about this before. People, if you stop approaching chicks and talk about how stupid they are, like yours truly, you get called an I word, you get told you hate women, etc. But then if you approach them and very clearly communicate you're interested in something romantic with one of them, you're called thirsty. So I don't. That's why I said you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't talk to them and say you're sick of them, you get accused of hating all of them, even though you never say that. And if you try to speak to them and put up with their ridiculousness, you get accused of being thirsty and trying to have romantic and they'll never outright say that they don't like straight men, but I think it's very obvious. Pray and wish upon a star, yeah. I remember this one time I was in the Uber and the driver was like telling me how she goes to this church that's like by my house. I was thinking to myself, man, it's so sad that I'm so desperate for just again the slightest bit of reciprocation from a woman, that the idea of going to church to meet somebody, it's like that. Like I really am on my last resort. I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do anymore. I remember this one time it was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was in this comment section on one of those political channels I would watch, and there was some chick I was like adding and responding to and what et cetera, et cetera. I was like, damn, I'm so desperate. I'm literally trying to get a date out of the YouTube comment section. Like I told you that but that's why I told you that like this chick stuff really is just you doing everything to make something happen, and a bunch of chicks, having to do nothing except be on the receiving end of it. And then you getting crucified for, being straight and not being successful, even though you were the only one that tried to make the stuff, actually go anywhere. Yeah, get lucky. Damn, the idea of really going to church to get a date, I can't believe it. Imagine like every Sunday I go, like every Sunday I just go, just sitting up in there. I mean, I'm really at the end of my rope with that woman stuff, so it wouldn't be too unheard of. But I just don't like approaching. That's just because if they don't like you, and they've shown that that's a pattern they have, why do you have to keep doing this? At times, you feel like Doctor Strange in the latest Spider-Man conjuring magic spells just for dates. Sometimes. No, I feel like him in the second film where he's having the same nightmare every night. It's like, yeah, every day is the same. Every time you approach a chick, you get the same nightmare. Ask for a number or some other way of communicating with them. They give it to you or they don't, and then you repeat the same process. Or after they give you the number, you try to speak to them for weeks or months. They tell all this crap how you mean so much to them, and sometimes they abruptly stop responding. It's one of those two, and then you ask them on a date and they say no, or they just want to be friends, et cetera, et cetera. You're like, oh, here we go again. I tell you, it's so funny how the stereotype for rejection on TV and all these other forms of media is you go up to a woman, you ask her on a date, she says no, whatever. And now in real life, the actual version of it is you go and talk to some woman, she tells you all this stuff to make it sound like you mean something to her. And then when you ask her on a date, she says she's not interested. And then, this is only after she's wasted several weeks to several months of your time, and then you have to restart the same process all over again. And then be attacked by people who've never met you online who try to use chicks as a way of, assassinating your character. And people are really surprised. I'm not interested in this stuff anymore. That's why I think it's crazy. That'd be a really funny show to just have like a social experiment where it's a guy on like that just is taking the public bus and he just sits in there all day long trying to see what different chicks come in there and speak to them, et cetera, and then see if he can get anybody's number that way, or a guy that goes to church every Sunday for a year, like, and he goes to a different church every Sunday until he meets some woman that he really likes or that he start like just as a social experiment just to see, like just all these different unorthodox ways trying to meet some chick. Because he's at the end of that should be the name of a romance reality show, At the End of My Rope, and just every episode is the guy talking to like 5 or 6 different chicks, and like the show's like 2 hours long or an hour long. He plays like different recordings of them and shows different messages and screenshots and proof. I'm sure I said this, but I honestly believe there should be an institution for people 25 plus solely made to meet our future partner, a dating university, honestly. I already know that chicks would say, but if I don't like any of the men at this school, I shouldn't have to date any of them. So, that'll be the first thing they do to try to get that idea killed. That was honestly one of my most miserable moments in life as a whole. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's that bad. Got to keep rebooting and restarting. Can never progress and manifest in something meaningful like a chick easily can do. That's how it's heavily slanted in their favor. Dude, imagine being a chick. You have a bunch of men asking you out, and you can turn down whoever you want. And by the way, all that stuff about they're scared or whatever, listen, if someone's actually scared of getting molested or of getting attacked or et cetera, because most men, it's a fact, are not rapists. They can always get a knife, get a licensed firearm. So they're, I don't believe any of that stuff. But anyways, you get men asking you out whenever you want. And when you get in a relationship with one of them, it's usually whichever one you thought was the hottest, et cetera, et cetera. You get your pick of the litter, right? And then you get to decide if you want to have a kid with this man, if you want to get married to this man. So much stuff is in your favor. But if you're a guy who asked her out and she rejects you, guess what you get to do? Go and ask out another 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 chicks. They're all going to do the exact same thing because the one thing chicks love doing is making you restart repeatedly forever. No progression whatsoever. Yeah, for her, it ends with like, I just want you to understand something. There are damn near no cons for being a chick that's trying to get a date. Don't ever listen to nobody on the damn internet when they tell you that, oh, women have problems too. Don't believe that garbage. They have a litany of men asking them out. Sometimes it's as few as 4, sometimes it's as big as 40 because of social media. And they get to pick whichever one they think looks the best to go on a date with. And then when they get with this person, they get to choose. They want to get married to them. They want to have family, how many times they meet up with, whatever. But if you're the guy that got rejected along with the other 39 or however many other guys, you have to start the whole process all over again. No, don't ever let anyone let you believe that chicks have a hard time in modern dating era. Don't If they have a hard time, it's because something stupid they did, but they get whatever guy they want and get to decide all this different stuff. And they also don't have to jump through any of the hoops that men do. Nobody tells chicks if they get rejected by men, they're gonna shoot up a school or rape somebody. No one tells chicks they have to be rich to go on a date. No, never. If like seriously, if you have a vagina, you will never have an issue with getting someone of the opposite gender to be interested in you. It will never occur. But if you're a man, get ready for hell. chicks have as many problems as men do. They have it just as bad as men do. I even had some douchebag in my comments to talk about. I know a Facebook group where women talk about not being able to get dates. It's like, show me the group, link it. Never did. I wonder why. You know why, right? Because it doesn't exist. Dude, so many people want you to feel bad for chicks. Like I told you, I'll never get over that one broad that was complaining about all the men that were asking her. I was like, I'm literally barely being able to get a single chick to speak to me, and you want me to feel bad because you're drowning in dicks. Like, what? Imagine if I was homeless and some guy comes up, some man comes up to me, he's wearing a suit and tie, and he's like, man, you gotta help me. I got all these sponsorship deals lined up. People keep trying to hire me everywhere I go. They're offering me 100,000 to move over here. I just can't take it. This is crazy. What am I gonna do? And you'd be like, what the hell are you trying to make me feel bad for you for? You got the exact polar opposite of my problem. You're gonna sit here and try to get sympathy out of me. But I told you, chicks are they're just not self-aware like that. They're able to say things such as what was just parodied and actually think it holds weight, or that they're suffering in their own way. Oh, all of these men asking me out. What'll I ever do? It's like, just say no. And by the way, the other part that they never mention is that when they use social media, it's always optional. There's no job that makes you sign up for Piscord or Twitter or Face, any of these places, right? So if they didn't want men trying to talk to them on those different websites, they would just not have accounts on those sites. Or they also have several, like, listen, all the social media attention that chicks get from men is intentional. They choose to put pictures of themselves up online. They choose to have their DMs open on Twitter because you can lock it on Twitter. So I feel nothing for them. I really don't. I remember that guy. What an idiot. I was like, show me this Facebook group. Well, hey, watch you. Hey, it'll be fun. You go into that Facebook group, and then all of a sudden, like you see like the universe shift, like the planet turns upside down. You got chicks DMing you. Like that. That's the only way something as alternate of reality as that could be occurring. Exactly. That's why I'll never feel sympathy for chicks complaining about how they get bombarded with messages from guys. Yeah, they do it to themselves. Like, online harassment for me is a bunch of guys telling me that you're ugly and you're unattractive and you're gonna rape somebody and kill somebody and you should kill yourself. But then for them, online harassment is a man asking them for their phone number. Like, think about that. Online harassment for me is a bunch of guys coming in on my channel or on some other site I'm on and saying you're unattractive and you're ugly and you don't have this, you don't have that. You're gonna molest somebody, you're gonna rape somebody, you're gonna kill somebody, you're gonna go kill yourself. But online harassment for chicks is men asking them on a date or trying to speak to them. And I'm supposed to be sympathetic toward that group. They can easily block them. They chose to put themselves on there for the most part, essentially advertising themselves to them all. But listen, it goes beyond blocking. On Twitter, you can make it to where if you're not following somebody, they can't DM you. You can mute notifications from people that are not on your follow list. All of these websites have things in place that if you don't want to speak to random guys, you don't have to. So make no mistake about it. When this stuff happens to them, it's because they wanted to. What the hell would I look like posting bikini pictures of myself and then some woman comes on there and I'm like, just leave me alone. It's like, you put that there so that someone could come and like it and then leave some comment talking about how hot you thought you looked or whatever. So, I just feel no sympathy. I really don't, because I don't get sympathy for anything I experience on here. So I think we should give them the same courtesy. They can easily, yeah, they can block them. They can, I mean, there's a million ways to not be contacted by people you don't want to talk to online. They're just are. So I don't feel bad to any extent. They do it to themselves and they want to play victim. But yeah, this romance stuff is bad. It's awful. It never ends. It's this reoccurring saga that just doesn't show any signs of improving. And I really hope that I don't have to put up with it any further. Like, obviously, you'll just have to deal with chicks never reciprocating, but like actually going out and approaching it, it is a fate worse than death. So thanks for showing up, Megumi. Eurodollar. I know you made your last minute cameo appearance. Envoy when he was here briefly when he was promoting Morbius and Akatsuki Merchant, and I'll do another stream on Monday. So have a good rest of your weekend.